Help me reach 9,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. She waited until the server set down the check and the candle burned low to put on a careful voice I hadn't heard before. Alex, I need you to stop talking about houses and timelines. I'm not interested in marriage. Not now. Maybe never. I don't want to be trapped by formal commitments. I looked at the untouched tiramisu and then at her fixed smile. It didn't sound like a thought. It sounded like something typed out, edited, and rehearsed. The server's pen hovered, awkward. I slid my card into the folio. Noted, I said. Anything else you've been practicing in the mirror? It's not a performance, she answered. It's honesty. Then we should treat it like honesty. If I'd known where this was headed, I would have skipped dessert altogether and gone straight to the part where I changed the locks. She waited for the wince, for the speech, for the big romantic countermove people post online so their friends clap in the comments. I just signed the receipt, left a tip that would make the server forget our argument, and stood. In the car, she started round two. Don't be cold, Sarah said, buckling in slow. This came out hard. I just need space from expectation. You've been hinting about down payments and school districts. It's heavy. Copy that. I replied, starting the engine. If those words weigh too much, I'll stop lifting them. That's not what I meant. That's what you said. She looked out the window all the way home, like the streetlights offended her. I put my phone on airplane mode when we got in, showered, and slept on my side of the bed. When her hand drifted over to my hip, I eased it back to her pillow, no fanfare. If we were not building a future, I didn't see the point of temporary comfort that pretended we were. In the morning, coffee was quiet. She waited for me to ask if she was okay. I tasted my mug, set it down, and gave her exactly what she asked for. All right, I told her. From here on, we run light. No joint plans. No long-term calendar. We'll keep things easy. If that freaks you out later, let me know. She blinked. That's abrupt. It's honest. The first scene closed there, and a different version of me went to work. I manage a small crew at a fabrication shop in Aurora, steel, wood, custom installs for restaurants and offices that want to look like they were born cool. It's a clean place that smells like cutting oil and burnt maple. My lead welder, Mike, is a loud guy who eats pretzels at 9 in the morning and asks the questions no one else will. He rolled his chair over while I laid out the week. You look like someone just canceled your birthday. Dinner turned into a TED Talk, I said. Sarah's off the grid with marriage, probably forever. She wants space from pressure. He whistled. That the same Sarah who asked you last month why you still kept your bachelor chair? Same. And you? I said I heard her. So I'm going to act like I heard her. He opened his mouth and closed it. That's going to be a show. I didn't explain. I don't narrate my boundaries for sport. I just made them real. That night, I sat across from Sarah at our kitchen table with two folders. Bills and budget. I pushed one to her. What is this? She asked. Your half of recurring expenses. Rent, utilities, groceries. I'll keep my truck, my phone, my insurance. You handle yours. I'm removing my card from your apps tonight. We'll square up on the first of each month. Clean, easy. She stared. You're really doing this? You said you didn't want formal commitment. This is the opposite of formal. It's simple, but this is cold. It's respectful. Of your words. I didn't ask you to punish me. I shrugged. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm aligning with a new status. She tapped the folder like it was a bomb. You're making this transactional. Our arrangement always had transactions. We just covered them with sweet names. She pushed back her chair. I thought you'd fight for me. I thought you'd plan something amazing. Show me why I should want to spend my life with you. That's a lot of work for a man who's not invited to the job. Don't twist this. I'm not twisting anything. I'm following your lead. You said you don't want a contract. Then you don't get the benefits of a contract. My time, my planning, my money, my attention on tap. You get me, present. You don't get me, obligated. How long are you going to do this? As long as the rules are what you said they are. She stared at me like she hadn't expected the ball to land on her side of the court. That was the first ripple, mild coldness turning to muted shock. I took my keys and went to the shop after hours to finish a walnut bar top order. There's peace in handwork, which doesn't argue. It just tells you if you're being sloppy. When I got home, she'd made pasta. The plate was on my side of the table, steam barely there. Sit, she said. I owe you an apology. Last night, Okay, it came out wrong. I don't mean I never want the life. I just don't want to feel pushed. I twirled spaghetti. Understood. You're not going to meet me halfway? I already moved. I took pressure off. That's halfway. She reached across for my hand. I care about you, Alex. I don't need the speech. If you mean that, it will show up in how we operate. She pulled back, offended that I didn't take her palm like a peace treaty. That was her first soft turn, a little warmth to keep the reins. It didn't change my line. We had a friend group thing that Saturday at Jenna's place. Jenna is the entertainer type who doesn't talk so much as narrate. Rooftop, string lights, plastic cups pretending to be fancier than they are. I went because I don't hide. A few of Sarah's co-workers were there, the marketing squad, with thin laughter and sharp questions. Jenna came in hot. Alex, is the big move happening? Sarah said you were scouting open houses. When do we toast to escrow? Sarah's eyes flicked to mine, daring me. That was the next form, public test. I sipped my soda. We're not doing houses, I replied. We're keeping things day to day. Jenna blinked. Oh, I thought. Plans change when rules change. I added and let it hang. One of the marketing women, a bob with a smile that said she lived on brunch, laughed. Did our girl scare you off with commitment talk? I didn't give her a show. I don't scare easy. I just listen. If someone says they're not interested in a contract, I stop drafting one. Sarah cut in fast. He's being dramatic. We're fine. He just gets literal. That's a new insult for me, I answered. Literal is what adults are when they sign mortgages. Jenna watched like a referee. Another friend, Nate, raised eyebrows at me over a nacho. He's a quiet guy who does IT and hates small talk. So you two are casual now? The Bob pressed. We're respectful, I said. Everyone gets what they're willing to give. No more, no less. Sarah let out a light laugh, a little too high. See what I mean? The man's a contract template in a flannel. I smiled. And you're a mission statement with no metrics. The table laughed. Not at me. At the line. She didn't appreciate the geometry of it. Her face stiffened, and I felt the next click in her plan. Make me chase by making me look standoffish. I didn't chase. At 10, I told her, I'm heading out. Early start tomorrow. You're leaving without me? She widened her eyes at Jenna, an audience to borrow. You came with your friends. You'll leave with them. That's cleaner. I kissed the air near her temple. Call me if you need help. Otherwise, we said space. On the walk to my truck, Nate caught up. He shoved his hands in his pockets like a teenage boy. You good? I'm fine. She's running a drill. I'm not a fire. He snorted. If this blows up, I'm keeping your smoker. The smoker stays with me, I told him. You can have the folding table. I slept well. There's a calm that arrives when you stop carrying someone else's script. Monday turned the pressure knob. Sarah started dropping lines that sounded like they were built to trigger. Texts at lunch. You're so distant. A photo of a ring visible in a magazine ad with a comment. Timing is everything. Right. Then a dinner where she described her co-worker's surprise engagement like it was a commercial we were supposed to reenact. I listened. I ate. I cleared my plate and my night. The next day, I did something on foreign territory. I told my crew during our morning meeting, small, simple, I'll be offline after 6. New policy. Personal hours are personal. If it's a flood, call the shop line. Otherwise, leave a note for morning. Mike lifted a finger. Is this about the weekend? His eyes had that glint like he loved the mess. It's about me choosing where my time lands, I said. I'll be at the gym at 7. I'll be sleeping by 10. We will stop running installs into the night because a client remembered their dream at 4 p.m. If they want rush, they can pay rush. We're done giving pieces of our lives for free. Preach, one of the apprentices muttered. Also, I added, I won't be at Sarah's friend stuff on weeknights. Pick Saturdays if you want me around. It wasn't about humiliating Sarah. It was about being explicit. When people don't hear you in private, public clarity helps them believe you. That night, she tried soft again. Chicken, salad, a candle. I thought about what you said, she offered, sliding a plate across. Maybe I pushed too hard with the never thing. I didn't mean never. What did you mean? I asked. I don't want deadlines. I don't want you to propose to fix a feeling. I want it because you want it. I did, I said. She looked up fast. What? I wanted it because I wanted it. Past tense. Her face shifted. Are you playing with me? No. I stood, rinsed my dish, set it in the rack. I heard you. I adjusted. That's all this is. She followed me to the living room. So you don't see a future anymore. I see respect. If it's not there, there's no point in names and papers. She sank onto the arm of the couch, eyes glass for the show. You're punishing me for being honest. You keep calling consequences punishment. That's your word, not mine. She didn't touch me that night. The air was the same temperature and somehow colder. Her parents invited us to dinner that Friday. Diane is precise, polite, and deeply opinionated. Tom is an easy humor kind of guy who always manages to find something to fix in your car, even if nothing's broken. Suburbs, nice lawn, framed photos of Sarah at every phase of life. The set where she learns certain behaviors have fans. At the table, Diane asked, neutral tone that hides knives. So, what's new with you two? Anything to share? Sarah answered before I could. We're taking pressure off, she said. Living in the moment. It's healthier. Diane cut her steak slowly. Healthy in what way, dear? Less talk of houses and plans, Sarah said. Tom glanced at me. You okay with that, Alex? I'm fine, I replied. Clarity is healthy. Sarah's mouth moved like it wanted to add adjectives. She didn't. The meal cruised for a while on small talk. After dessert, Tom said he needed help in the garage with a shelf, and I didn't mind the excuse to be around tools that didn't have feelings. We walked out. He pointed me to a box and said, hand me that level. It's a little high. I popped the trunk of my truck to grab my tool bag. On top of the bag was a small folder I had forgotten to move, a copy of an appraisal note from a jeweler. Insurance, the number, the stone specs. I'd taken out a policy when I bought the ring so that, when I proposed, I wasn't also gambling with theft. That folder had a way of mocking me all week. Tom reached in for a rag before I could stop him and froze. He looked down, read the top line, and then he looked up with eyes I didn't want to meet. Son, he said, voice careful. Is this what I think it is? It was, I answered. He didn't touch the paper. He just closed the trunk like it could swallow the past. When, 2 weeks ago, I had a plan. It doesn't matter now. He rubbed his jaw. Does Sarah know? No. He breathed out the kind of breath men do when the math suddenly hurts. You want me to keep quiet? Not asking you to lie to your wife, I said. Do what you think is right. We went back inside. Diane looked at Tom, saw something in his face, and knew. She always knew. The room changed temperature without touching the thermostat. Diane set her fork down. Is there something I should ask? Tom met my eyes, and there was respect in his. There was a ring, he said plainly to his wife. Alex took responsible steps. The ring exists. Or existed. Sarah stared at me like the floor had moved. You bought a ring? Yes. When were you going to? Does it matter? I asked. You gave me a speech about not wanting contracts. I adjusted. Her chair scraped. You can't be serious. I am. Diane's gaze pinned her daughter. Sarah. What? Sarah snapped. Perhaps don't test a man's heart like it's a parlor game, Diane told her. You might win the game and lose the man. Tom cleared his throat and looked at me. You still have it? Yes. Where is it? At a safe place that isn't here. Sarah's voice dropped, brittle. So what? You punish me by dangling this and then taking it away. I stood. We're done with that word. Nobody's dangling anything. I had a plan to honor you. You said you didn't want to be honored that way. So I reconfigured. That's it. She looked at her parents like they could vote me back into her narrative. Diane leaned back, measured, and said nothing more. Tom picked up his water and drank like it was the only safe move. We left early. In the car, silence lasted a block. Then it detonated. You were going to propose, and you didn't tell me? She asked. It's usually a surprise, I answered, eyes on the road. I can't believe. You set a rule. I cut in. I followed it. Here's another rule. I will not argue in this car. We can talk at home, or we can sit in silence. Pick one. She folded her arms and took the second option. At home, she tried a new tactic, full warmth, a performance so bright it almost looked real. She lit candles. She put on a playlist with old songs we used to cook to. She came into the room in a soft sweater I liked. She stood close, that look that used to erase any thought I had about deadlines or budgets. I took you for granted, she said softly. I got scared. I pushed you away to see if you'd push back. It was immature. I'm sorry. I studied her like a countertop I'd just sanded, looking for scratches the stain would hide. I accept the apology, I told her. I'm still changing the logistics. What logistics? The warmth faltered. I'm moving out for a while, I said. Short-term furnished near the shop. No drama. I'll send movers for my stuff Friday. You'll keep the apartment. I'll send my half of rent for 30 days. After that, it's yours to cover or not. I'm turning off the joint grocery deliveries. I'm taking my tools and my personal gear. You can keep the blender. The blender, she repeated, like I was assaulting her with an appliance. And the framed photos you like. I don't need them. You can't just leave. I can. I am. I held up a hand when she started to interrupt. Communication window from here on is 9 to 10 p.m., text only. If there's an emergency, call twice in a row. I'll answer. Otherwise, please do not blow up my phone. If I get 3 guilt texts in a row, I mute the thread for 24 hours. Her eyes flashed. You're really writing rules for me. I'm writing rules for myself. You happen to be there. She tried a last soft blow. We can fix this. Maybe, I said, and meant what I said next. But it won't be with me performing desire while you measure it with traps. I'm done auditioning. She took a breath and recalculated. All right, if you're moving out, at least let me help you pack. There it was again, the second soft turn, exaggerated kindness with a ribbon on it. I let her tape one box. I kept the rest for myself. I moved into a short-term place near the shop on Thursday. 1 bedroom, clean, no memories on the walls. I changed my gym hours. I met Mike for an early breakfast and told him the outlines. He shook his head and laughed without humor. Buddy, you bought a ring. I also bought an exit, I said. I've got both. One's going back. He cleared his throat. You sure? Very. Friday, I swung by the jeweler to start a return. The clerk knew me by name. He looked sorry the way service people do when they can't fix your life, only your receipt. Back at the shop, Carla, the contractor we sub for sometimes, walked in for a walkthrough. She's sharp, always on schedule. We did the tour. On her way out, she waved me aside. You look lighter, she said. Made a decision. Stick with it. People smell indecision and treat you like a buffet. She tapped my clipboard. Boundaries are boring to hear about, but they're the only reason I still like this job. That afternoon, Sarah showed up at the shop. She never comes to the shop. She stood near the rolling door, careful look, cardigan I bought her last winter. Can we talk? She asked, eyes all water and shine for the show she thought would work in front of my crew. We can walk, I replied, and nodded to Mike to give me a minute. He pretended to reorganize bolts, but didn't move out of earshot. Fine. Witnesses are helpful when someone tries to rearrange history later. We walked to the parking lot. She started in full theater. I told my parents I messed up, she said. Mom lectured me. Dad's upset. I am too. I don't want to lose you. I panicked. I said something to feel power because I felt like everything was accelerating. I'm not a car, I answered. You don't pump brakes to see if I care. I know. I'm sorry. Can we reset? We could go away for a weekend. Plan something. You can show me. I'm not planning to convince you. I cut in. I'm not setting up sunsets to win points. I don't do talent shows for affection. That's not fair. It's precise. She tried again, pushing tears that didn't quite arrive. I love you. I hear you. That's it. That's it. She looked over my shoulder at Mike, who found a reason to carry a panel past us slowly like a nosy parade. This is humiliating, she said. It doesn't have to be. You can accept that I'm doing what you asked me to do. Take pressure off, and let it be quiet. I didn't ask you to leave. I know. That's my idea. I like it. You're cruel. I'm clear. She glared, spun, got in her car, and left faster than she should have in a small lot. Mike reappeared with an expression that said he was proud and sorry at the same time. She tried the waterworks, he said. Hydration is important, I replied, and went back inside. Here's the part people don't like. After that talk, she switched tactics from soft to scorched. The joke text started, little digs about my spreadsheet romance. Then she tried public leverage. A friend's birthday at a bar we all use once a year as a checkpoint. She asked me to come. I agreed because I wasn't hiding and because there's value in making statements in daylight. I told her in advance. I would stay an hour, I would not drink, and I would leave when I decided. She sent a thumbs-up emoji like she'd hired me. The night came. She wore a dress that used to be a problem for my concentration. Jenna clapped when we walked in. Someone shouted, "Future Mr. and Mrs." out of habit, and then people remembered there were complications and laughed awkwardly. 10 minutes in, Jenna handed Sarah a microphone for a toast. Don't ask me why she brings a microphone to a bar. Jenna likes props. Sarah tapped it and laughed. Thanks for coming, everyone, she said. I want to say something. She looked at me. I've been a little difficult lately. I'm a work in progress. But I think when you know, you know. And I know. She walked toward me, held out the mic, and smiled like we were finally doing the scene. The bar quieted. It wasn't a proposal. It was a staged reconciliation with an audience. The exact show she expected when she kicked this off. I looked at Jenna. Can you kill the mic? Jenna frowned, but tapped the button. The room exhaled. I stood. Thanks. I told the group, loud enough for the tables. Appreciate you all. Sarah and I are taking space. We're not doing public speeches about private decisions. We're good people who want different things, and we're handling it like adults. I'm heading out. Y'all celebrate the birthday. Sarah's face reddened. You're walking out on me? I'm leaving early like I said I would. The schedule exists for a reason. Have a good night. Jenna tried to block my path with affection I didn't want. Come on, Alex, 5 more minutes. I said what I meant, I told her, and stepped around. A guy from Sarah's office muttered, Dude's ice. I ignored him. Nate caught my eye at the door and gave a small nod. He understood the difference between cold and clear. In the lot, Sarah followed. She grabbed my sleeve, not hard, but like she'd paid for the right. Don't do this here. You did it here. I was trying to fix. You were trying to stage. I unhooked her hand. Final note. I'm returning the ring Monday. I'll text you a photo of the receipt for closure. After that, we're done trying to twist each other into shapes. You're free to find a version of love that fits your need for tests. I hope you find it. You're ending it, she said, stunned that the lever snapped in her hand. Yes. You don't even want to talk? We've been talking since Tuesday. I prefer decisions. She stared like I'd walked off the map. If you leave now, it's over. That's the idea. I got in my truck, rolled the window down just long enough to finish it clean. You wanted control without cost, I told her. I don't sell that product. She took half a step back, like the line had weight. I drove off. Monday morning, I returned the ring. The clerk processed it, glanced at the policy, and slid me the final paperwork. Done. Clean. No drama. The paper felt like an end of season you don't need to binge again. I sent Sarah the photo. She didn't reply. Later, Diane texted me. I'm sorry for how this went. You did right by yourself. Tom added a thumbs up that made me smile. Men say a lot with not much. I hired movers for my remaining things and had them come while Sarah was at work. I left the apartment key on the counter with an index card that said, paid through May 31st. After that, it's yours. I took my chair. I left the blender, as promised. I deleted our shared calendar. I set my phone to filter her messages to a folder I could choose to open or not. I chose not for a while. Work got easier. My crew liked the new hours. We stopped bleeding into nights. I started running by the river after shift. When you are not spending time negotiating your worth inside your own home, life expands. 2 weeks later, Sarah asked to meet at a coffee place near the old apartment for closure. I agreed to 20 minutes in public, table by the window. She arrived in a plain sweater and no theater. For a second, I saw the girl I met 2 years ago, the one who laughed at my bad jokes about overbuilt furniture. Then I remembered she'd sell what we had for a clap from a room. Hi, she said. Hi. I've been thinking. Me too. I wanted the moment, she started. I wanted to feel chosen. I thought if I pushed away, you'd chase, and then I'd know. Instead, you took me at my word. I did. That felt like betrayal, she added, eyes searching me for something like regret. Honoring your words is not betrayal. I know, she said. The truth? I expected you to be more romantic. I was. You didn't see it, because you were looking for choreography. She looked at my coffee cup like it had answers. What happens now? Now I live my life, I said. And you live yours. You won't even try again? I don't reopen closed doors. It confuses the hallway. She nodded slowly, as if she had expected a crack to wedge a foot into. You were going to be a good husband. I planned to be. Plans change when information changes. She wiped her eye, one quick motion, no drama this time. I'll be okay. You will. Can I ask a favor? She said. You can ask. Don't tell people about the ring. I don't want to be the girl who ruined her own proposal. I didn't tell anyone except your parents. Tom found the paperwork by accident. They're adults. They know when to be quiet. Thank you. You're welcome. We stood. She hesitated like she wanted a soft exit hug. I gave her a handshake. She blinked and then laughed once, the honest kind. Of course. Take care, I said, and meant it. I walked out of the coffee shop into a life that, somehow, had more space in it. Not because I'd lost something, but because I'd stopped dumping energy into a hole that didn't want to be filled. That was last spring. Summer arrived like it always does. Construction dust, cold water from work coolers, the sound of saws, and weekends that actually feel like weekends. I bought a small house on the edge of town. A simple place with a yard I could fix myself and a garage that swallows projects. I picked it because I wanted a door that locks behind me and a lawn I don't share with strangers. No plaques on the wall, no big declarations. Just peace that you can sweep. Nate comes by to use the smoker, my smoker, and we watch baseball like we're old already. Mike brings his kids to spray me with the hose and call it helping. Carla sends us work that pays on time and doesn't ask for miracles. There's a woman I see for dinner sometimes, Claire. She's steady. She talks straight. She laughs at things that deserve it. We haven't discussed timelines. We don't need to. We behave like respect isn't a stunt. I see Sarah occasionally in places where our circles still overlap. Once at a grocery store, aisle with the paper towels. She looked thinner and more careful. We exchanged nods. No words. I heard later, through the small-town telegraph, that is social media you don't check, but friends summarize for you, that she tried a version of the same script with someone else. It didn't land. The man left faster. Control without cost is a hard product to sell twice. Sometimes, when I lock my door at night, I think about that folder in my old trunk, about the ring that was supposed to turn into a life. I don't feel regret. I feel precise. You don't teach people how to treat you by speeches. You teach them by what you allow. I allowed too much, then I stopped. A week ago, Tom drove past my house and slowed. He pulled in, got out, looked at my front steps like he was about to criticize the stain, and then didn't. We stood in the driveway like men do, 2 feet apart, talking to the air. Looks good, he said. You're doing all right. I am. I wish that dinner had gone another way. Me too, I replied. But it told the truth quicker. He nodded. Sarah's figuring herself out. She'll be okay. I hope she gets what she wants. He looked at me, long and steady. She already had it once. We shook hands. He got back in his truck and drove away. I went inside, set a steak on the counter, and texted Claire to see if she wanted to pick up fresh corn on her way. She sent back, on it, and a photo of a basket. No performance, just actions that matched words. People say you should fight for love. I agree. You should fight for love where love is. But when someone stands at your table and tells you they don't want the thing you came to build, believe them, and let your actions teach the lesson. Drop the rope. Rebuild your life with both hands. The last thing I told Sarah, before the coffee handshake, before the clean exit, still sits with me because it was the truest thing I said in that whole stretch. She'd asked, "How can you be so calm walking away?" I answered, "Because I don't leave angry, I leave clear. The story you wrote for us had me proving you right. I rewrote it. In mine, I don't audition.